What is up? I'm trying to NASCAR Triple Two here, trying to go live for the very first time. Give me a second, trying to figure everything out here. Oh boy, let's see. What is going on? What is going on? Am I live? I don't know if I'm live right now. I'm live right now. I guess I'm live. I don't see anybody in the chat, but what is up, guys? What is going on? I want this to be a little bit of an update. 1 second. Got to turn this down. What is going on? Let me know in the comment section down below what's going on. Want this to be a little bit of kind of just an update. I want to talk a little bit about racing. I didn't really have time this week to make a video or to do a whole edit a video and do all that stuff. So I kind of just wanted to go live. Type something in the chat if you can hear me right now. I want to talk about a little bit about the stuff that's going on in NASCAR this week, some of my plans for the future and all that stuff. Okay, we got a question now, Matt D. Benedetto fan. What happened to your old videos? Can you hear me right now? If you can hear me, someone in the chat, let me know that you can hear me, because I don't know if this is working right now. So if you can hear me in the chat, put something in the chat if you can hear me. There might be a little bit of a lag. I'm not 100% sure, but if you can hear me, type something. Okay, thank you. So Matt D. Benedetto fan asked, what happened to my old videos? What is up, Jay Stapleton? Yes, I can hear you. Thanks for hitting me up, Jay Stapleton. I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are going on in the NASCAR world right now. Matt D. Bandano fan asked, what happened to your old videos? I got rid of them. At one point, I thought about just shutting down I don't know if I thought about shutting down the channel as a whole, but I have so much stuff going on in my life. I didn't really think I was ever going to get back to making videos again. So I kind of just wanted to rebrand the channel. I got rid of the older videos and I decided to come back to the whole YouTube thing. But I want to talk a little bit about racing. And if you guys have any specific questions you guys want me to answer, leave them in the chat comment section down below. Just I'll answer any question you want. But first and foremost, there's a lot of topics I got to talk about today. Kasey Kahne finally winning, Paul Menard to the 21, and Penske going to a 3-car team. Huge news. What a week for racing. First and foremost, Kasey Kahne finally winning. That blew my mind. And shout out to Redneck Gamers. What is up, dude? What is going on? But Kasey Kahne finally winning, that blew my mind. I had to eat my words just a little bit because, as you guys know, as many of you know, I bashed on Kasey Kahne for many years, saying he was garbage. He was the worst driver, one of the worst drivers that's ever driven for Hendrick. I said everything possibly bad I could say about Kasey Kahne, and then he goes out and wins one of the biggest races of the Cup Series schedule. So I have to eat my words a little bit, but let's be honest here. Had Martin Truex Jr. and Kyle Busch not wrecked each other, Kasey Kahne would have had no chance of winning that race, but he went out, he won. I don't think he's going to do jack shit once the playoffs come. You guys can let me know what you guys think about that if you're a Kasey Kahne fan. I don't think Kasey Kahne is going to get anywhere in the playoffs, but kudos to him. I have to eat my words just a little bit because you know what? Kasey Kahne, he came through. He finally came through. A 102 race losing streak finally comes through, and now we have Redneck Gamer saying, I wish Trevor Bayne would have won. Yeah, Trevor Bayne had a little bit of a chance. I got to tell you, though, with the way Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been running and the way that Trevor Bayne ran early in the season, Trevor Bayne has totally been disappointing me. Um, I never really thought Trevor Bayne was a great driver, just based off what he's done in the Xfinity Series. I never really thought Trevor Bayne was that great a driver, but he's a good guy. Anyone who knows Trevor Bayne, anyone in that garage area, knows that Trevor Bayne, not only is he a religious guy, but he is a good guy. Now, you talking about Michael McDowell? Michael McDowell, I truly, absolutely love Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell has totally impressed me this season. I got to say that Michael McDowell deserves a full-time ride in a good quality car, whether it's trucks, Xfinity, or Cup. I'd like to see him stay in Cup, but Michael McDowell definitely deserves a full-time ride of some sort. So I'm going to do this live stream for about 30 minutes. But Kasey Kahne finally winning really shocked me because, and we have something here from Jay Stapleton. What's surprising? Kyle Busch didn't win any races this season. That is very surprising. And let me get to Kyle Busch just a little bit here now that my man Jay Stapleton has brought it up. Kyle Busch is very interesting because they were talking about him on NASCAR Race Hub last night. Kyle Busch has been a lot better than guys that have won races. Compare Kyle Busch's season to Austin Dillon's season. Compare Kyle Busch's season to Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s season. Compare Kyle Busch's season to Ryan Newman's season. Kyle Busch will make the playoffs even if he doesn't win a race because we have 6 races left. There's a few spots open. I think we might see 2, maybe 3 more winners. You got Joey Logano, who I'll get to in a minute. I think he's still going to win a race. Then you talk about Kyle Busch. He could win a race. You talk about Matt Kenseth. He could possibly win a race. But you talk about what driver is probably going to get in on points if he doesn't win a race. That would be Kyle Busch. But if Kyle Busch doesn't win a race, he's got enough playoff points from winning stages. Kyle Busch could go into the playoffs, not win a race, and still make it to the Homestead Miami in that Final Four. So if Kyle Busch doesn't win a race, I think that Kyle Busch could possibly make it all the way to Homestead Miami. Kyle Busch's season without a win is still better than Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s season with 2 wins. It's still better than Austin Dillon's season with a fuel mileage win. It's still better than Ryan Newman's season with a win based off what he did on tires. So Kyle Busch, I believe, he hasn't won a race, but he's the one driver I am not concerned about. Being a Joey Logano fan, I'm very concerned. If I was a Clint Bowyer fan, I'd be very concerned. But if you're out there, you're a Kyle Busch fan, I would not be concerned. He has done everything but win. What I'd be concerned about is now this sort of controversy between the 78 and the 18, because you're looking at 2 teams right now, the 78 and the 18, who could possibly be in Homestead Miami fighting for a chance to win this championship. And Joe Gibbs out of nowhere decides that he's going to suspend 2 guys off Martin Truex Jr.'s pit crew. But does Joe Gibbs have that right? Because remember, the 78 is an affiliate to Joe Gibbs Racing. But does Joe Gibbs Racing have the authority over Barney Visser to make that judgment? Does he have the authority? And let me know what you guys think in the chat. What do you think about this whole 78-18 crew member kind of controversy? Because if you think about it, Adam Stevens has just as much added just as much fuel to that fire as the 2 guys on the 78's crew team. Adam Stevens, the crew chief for Kyle Busch, has added just as much fuel to that fire as both of those goddamn crew members. So why is Adam Stevens not getting fired? Why is Adam Stevens not getting suspended? Well, because he's Joe Gibbs Racing. So why does Joe Gibbs Racing have the authority? Why does Joe Gibbs have the authority to suspend 2 of Furniture Row Racing's crew members, but doesn't have the authority to do that for Adam Stevens? And we got a comment here from Rednex Gamers. He can't do that 2 different teams, so what I saw is Furniture Row is part of Joe Gibbs. Exactly. So, and I hear you on that, Redneck Gamers. I really hear you on that. And I understand Joe Gibbs Racing, Furniture Racing, they have an alliance similar to Team Penske and Wood Brothers, similar to what Hendrick and Hendrick and Stewart Haas had a couple years ago. And I understand that. I hear you too, Conrad. They are JGR employees, but the whole thing is there's a rule in NASCAR. You can only have four teams to an organization. Hendrick has four. Joe Gibbs Racing has four. Stewart Haas has four. You can only have four teams to an organization. And remember, many years ago, there were 5 teams at Roush Family Racing, and the NASCAR said, this is too much. You've got to have 4. And I know they're an extension to JGR, but isn't this bending the rules a little bit? Because if Joe Gibbs Racing is making if Joe Gibbs, who already owns 4 cars, is making decisions for the 78, isn't that like having 5 or 6 cars to one organization? Isn't that bending the rules a little bit? So it pisses me off that these, organizations, okay, well, we're going to be an affiliate with Furniture Row Racing, but I'm still going to make all the decisions on all 6 teams. Well, then you're not really being an affiliate. You're being a team that is bending the rules and going outside of the box to break the 4-car team rule, and now you have 6 cars. So it's a little bit of bullshit, if you ask me. And if you're a fan of Joe Gibbs Racing, let me know what you guys think of that down below. But this ultimately should have been Joe Gibbs should have talked to Barney Visser, and then Barney Visser should have ultimately made the decision. What I saw there was Joe Gibbs making a decision on a team, the 78 team, that is not his car. They can be affiliates. They can work for Joe Gibbs Racing all they want. But what I'm saying is, if Joe Gibbs is going to be making decisions on the 78 over Barney Visser, then you're talking about a 5th and 6th Joe Gibbs Racing entry into NASCAR, and that's breaking the rules. To me, that would be breaking the rules, and I just don't see how that's allowed. Yeah, Team Penske does something similar with Ryan Blaney, but you have the 2 cars plus 1, that's only 3. Roush Family Racing had 5 cars back in the day. They had Mark Martin, Greg Biffle, Kurt Busch, Matt Kenseth, and somebody else I can't remember right now, but they had 5 cars back in the day, and NASCAR said, this is getting out of hand. We cannot have 5 cars to a team. So now what we're seeing, which is something we didn't really see back in those times, is this affiliate thing. Well, we're Hendrick Motorsports drivers, but we're going to help Stewart Haas. Well, we're Joe Gibbs Racing, but we're going to help Furniture Row Racing. When Furniture Row Racing wins, it's like a win for us. To me, that's bending the rules. That's breaking the rules. I don't know. You guys let me know that down below. And all right, see you, Redneck Gamers. Have a good one. Thanks for checking in and coming in to the stream. Oh, that's right. I forgot about Edwards. Edwards, Biffle, Mark Martin, Kenseth, and of course David Reagan, who I'm a huge fan of. But I want to get to something else now. The biggest news of the week broke that Paul Menard will be driving the 21 next year for Wood Brothers Racing. But that's the back end of the story. The front end of the story is that Ryan Blaney, my man, will be driving a 3rd Penske car next year. And this is about time. Ryan Blaney has been in talks with Penske for a while. This is not surprising to me at all. And a lot of people are shocked that Paul Menard got the call. To Wood Brothers Racing. I want to talk about that first because a lot of people are a little bit shocked. And if you guys remember last year, I made a video. Obviously that video is gone now, but I made a video last season, where there were a lot of people talking. Some of the big reporters, Jeff Gluck was talking about it. Bob Pockrass was talking about it. A lot of guys were talking about, that Paul Menard could possibly be driving a 3rd car for Penske this year. And I said, that's bullshit. Why would Paul Menard get the 3rd Penske car before Ryan Blaney? But the real reason that he's got this, and Conrad Fisher has hit it on the head there, if any of you guys watch the IndyCar series, Menards, which is the home store, similar to Home Depot and Lowe's, Menards sponsors Simon Pagenaud, the champion of the IndyCar Series. They have a long-standing sponsorship with Team Penske. So it appears that Wood Brothers Racing is going to keep their affiliate with Team Penske, and they're going to field Paul Menard. And now they came out later this week that Paul Menard will be doing a handful of Xfinity Series races for that Discount Tire 22 team. So not only is Paul Menard going to take over Ryan Blaney's spot, but he's also going to be doing a number of races for Team Penske's Xfinity Series program next year. So Paul Menard is going full throttle from the Chevrolets of Richard Childress Racing. He's now a Penske boy, so I got to start rooting for Paul Menard. I like Paul Menard. I think he's an okay driver. I think that Richard Childress Racing hasn't given him the best equipment, and I think it'll be interesting to see how well Paul Menard does. But no surprise whatsoever, because a lot of people were saying, well, why hasn't Bubba Wallace gotten this ride? Why wasn't Bubba Wallace offered this ride? Why weren't some of these other guys offered this ride? Well, mainly because of his sponsorship. Paul Menard will always have that sponsorship. It's similar to something like Brian Scott. As sad as it is, that's the state of NASCAR today. And Conrad Fisher saying, I think Penske should get real talent. But that's the sad thing of today's NASCAR world. If you have money, if you have sponsorship, that's what's going to get you a ride. And that's why we see some of these guys like Reed Sorensen, David Reagan, J.J. Yeley, some of these guys, Timmy Hill, some of these guys that have significant talent, like not just like they're okay drivers, significant talent, like Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace isn't exactly Jimmy Johnson, but Bubba Wallace is a talented race car driver, and I think that he could be a future champion possibly. But again, that's the state of NASCAR today. If you don't have your daddy paying your way, like Paul Menard, or Brian Scott, or John West Townley, or some of these other guys, it's going to be hard to make your way in NASCAR. And that's why it took Alex Bowman a number of years to get his ride with Hendrick Motorsports, because he simply just didn't have the sponsorship money. And you look at Junior Motorsports, even an Xfinity team like Junior Motorsports, Michael Annett has that sponsorship with Pilot Flying J, but Michael Annett is pure garbage. Michael Annett is a horrible race car driver. Yet he got a ride at Junior Motorsports over Junior's nephew, Jeffrey Earnhardt. Well, Jeffrey didn't have any sponsorship. Look at a guy like Jed Burton. Jed Burton was wheeling the fuck out of that, wheeling the fuck out of every opportunity he's gotten. But there's Jed Burton right now sitting at home watching races on Sunday because he doesn't have a rich daddy to pay his way. So that's just the way it is. And we comment here from Jay Stapleton. Menard has taken advantage of his opportunity. Well, he has taken advantage. And look, I don't blame Paul Menard. I don't blame Brian Scott. I don't blame any of these guys. If I had a rich daddy, I'd ask him to pay my way into NASCAR. If I had a rich daddy or a rich mommy or a rich uncle, I'd say, hey, mommy, can I get $10 million and go run for NASCAR? Of course you do it. And Conrad Fisher, I heard John Hunter Nemechek would have gotten the 5 car until the incident with Custer. I didn't hear that. I don't know where you heard that. You're talking about Kasey Kahne's ride? I didn't hear that at all. From what I heard, William Byron was the man all along. Joe Gibbs Racing has too much talent in their system with Daniel Suarez. Obviously, they had to let go of Matt Kenseth for Eric Jones. They got Christopher Bell. They're trying to develop Kyle Benjamin and Ryan Preece. Okay. You heard John Hunter Nemechek would have gotten the 5 car until the incident with Custer. Again, I didn't hear that. And again, Michael Annett has sponsorship, and John Hunter Nemechek doesn't have sponsorship. Now, John Hunter Nemechek, again, one of those drivers I really like. He's got a tremendous upside. John Hunter Nemechek has a tremendous upside. He went out there. He's won races in unsponsored cars. Before he won that race, his first race this season, he thought Nemco Motorsports thought they were going to have to shut down their operation. Hello? Hello? Hell fucking, can you fucking hear me? Can you fucking hear me? Can people fucking hear me? Fuck, this shit's pissing me off. Can people fucking hear me? Hello? Danica Patrick is a transgender bitch. Can people hear me? Fuck Danica Patrick in the chat if you can hear me. Fuck Danica Patrick in the chat if you can hear me. Okay, you can hear me. Fuck, that pissed me off. What the fuck was I even saying? Fuck this YouTube shit. This is why I don't make videos. This shit pisses me the fuck off. Long story short, what the fuck was I saying? Someone catch me up. Someone catch me up. What the fuck was I saying? God fucking damn it. Oh yeah, the 5 car. Michael Annette's a piece of shit. He fucking sucks. I love Pilot Flying J, the sponsor, but they need to can him and get a new driver because he fucking sucks. John Hunter Nemechek, he's a good driver. I don't know what his future is. He's not really in a developmental program, so I don't know. But long story short, Michael Annette fucking sucks. Okay, you got Justin Allgaier, you got Elliott Sadler, you got William Byron, all winning races, and Michael Annette's back there like in 20th position with guys, with no-name guys that don't even know who the fuck they're driving for and what the fuck their name is. Like, you're Michael Annette. You're driving for the top series. I mean, you're driving for the top team in your series. And you can't, you're not even on the lead lap half the time. Half the time, Junior Motorsports is like 1, 2, 3 in the Xfinity Series standings, and Michael Annette is barely hanging on by a thread to make it into the fucking playoffs. Are you serious, Michael Annette? And this is the shit that pisses me off, because you've got guys, you've got talented guys like Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace is so much better than Michael Annette, though he has no ride. Jed Burton is 1,000 times better than Michael Annette, though he has no ride. Reed Sorensen is 1,000 fucking times better than Michael Annette, yet he has no fucking ride. And here's Michael Annette, who somehow, some way has a fucking sponsor. No one fucking knows how. Barely hanging on by a thread. And it pisses me the fuck off because you've got legitimate good guys like Bubba Wallace. You got guys like fucking Reed Sorensen. You've got guys like JJ Yalley. You've got really talented, good fucking guys that don't have top rides, that aren't even riding, period. Right now, Right now, Bubba Wallace is sitting at home watching races. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me that right now Bubba Wallace is sitting at home watching races, yet you have Michael Annett with a full-time ride at Junior Motorsports? Can someone fucking explain that to me? I don't, for the life of me, I don't fucking get that. I know he has sponsorship. Can someone fucking sponsor Bubba Wallace? Can someone fucking sponsor Reed Sorensen? Can someone fucking sponsor a JJ Yaley? Can someone fucking sponsor these guys? I feel bad too, man. Nicholas Steiner, yeah, and Sorensen got replaced by bitch Gray Golding. Don't even get me fucking started on Gray Golding, because last time I made a rant video about Gray Golding, the fucking neighbors called the cops for a noise complaint. Don't fucking get me started on Gray Golding, because the fucking neighbors will call the cops on me again, because I will fucking lose my shit. I will fucking lose my shit. Fuck that fucker, Gray Golding. Gray Golding, oh, don't even get me started. You're spiraling me into a bad place if you get me started talking about Gray Golding, because the fucking neighbors will call the cops again and I'll get a fucking citation. $150 citation for talking about Gray fucking Golding. Okay, Redneck Gamers. Richard Petty Motorsports is trying to find sponsorship. I saw that as well. Richard Petty Motorsports is trying to find sponsorship for Bubba Wallace. I don't see why you wouldn't want to sponsor Bubba Wallace. I'm not even a big Bubba Wallace fan, but why wouldn't you want to sponsor Bubba Wallace? He's got talent. You can market him. And you had this new wave of NASCAR with Eric Jones, Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney. Why wouldn't you just add Bubba Wallace? But that's the problem with NASCAR. There's a very limited amount of good cars. There's a very, very limited amount of good cars. And if you don't bring sponsorship to the table, you are fucked. And the problem is right now is these teams like Joe Gibbs Racing, these teams like Penske, these teams like Hendrick, they're developing their drivers from a very early age. Joe Gibbs Racing found Eric Jones years ago before he even entered the Truck Series. They're doing it now with guys like Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland. And Joe Gibbs Racing is in that place that every team owner wants to be in. You have so much good young talent. You had to drop some. And if you remember a few years ago, Joe Gibbs Racing had to make a decision. Are we going to take Eric Jones or Bubba Wallace? They had to make a legitimate decision because Daniel Suarez was coming up. Joe Gibbs and Kyle Busch partially had to make a decision, and they had to make a decision. Are we going to kick Bubba Wallace or Eric Jones? And they decided to take Eric Jones, and I don't think anyone thinks that was the wrong decision. Eric Jones is hugely talented, but the problem was when Joe Gibbs Racing dropped Bubba Wallace, he was no longer being developed. So you have a driver like Bubba Wallace who thinks he's in a good place. He's getting developed to one day be a cup star for Joe Gibbs Racing. And then Joe Gibbs Racing says, wait, we have too much talent. You're done with Bubba Wallace. And then he goes to Roush Fenway Racing where they totally fucked him over. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet or the news that Roush Fenway Racing finally got sponsorship for a third car, but they're giving it to Ty Majeski. What kind of fucked up situation is that for Bubba Wallace? Oh, we dropped you because we don't have sponsorship for you. Oh, wait, we now have sponsorship, but we're not giving it to you. We're giving it to Ty Majeski. I don't get that at all. I don't get that at all. If you're a Bubba Wallace fan, which I'm not, I'm just talking out of being a pure race fan, I feel bad for you because Bubba Wallace is in a place right now where there's too much young talent, there's not enough sponsorship, and there's not enough rides for Bubba Wallace. And out of all the good guys out there, Ryan Blaney, Eric Jones, Chase Elliott, one of these guys has to get fucked over, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be Bubba Wallace. And that's the thing, Dietech Cup Series. Shout out to you. That's the thing. Who is willing to sponsor Bubba? Why aren't people willing to do that? And that's the thing. You know, and I made a video a while back. Got a lot of heat, got a lot of backlash. Let me know if you guys remember it. But John Hunter Nemechek was offered a sponsorship by Mud Jug. Now, many of you may know what Mud Jug is. They have a channel on here on YouTube. They've got like over 100,000 subscribers. Mud Jug was willing to give Nemco Motorsports $10,000, and Nemco Motorsports turned it down. They said, we need $50,000 or we're not taking anything. And that's the thing. They said, well, we're a small business. We give most of our money to the military overseas. We can't give you $50,000. And Nemco Motorsports said, we need $50,000 or we can't take anything. And that's the problem. Small businesses cannot sponsor NASCAR because it costs too much money. And these big businesses just aren't willing to do it. And that's the problem right now. That's why you see guys like Paul Menard. And in the past, you've seen guys like Brian Scott. You've seen guys like John West Townley. You see guys like Brandon Gaughan. Brandon Gaughan, I don't care what anyone says about Brandon Gaughan. Brandon Gaughan is fucking garbage. Yet he has a top ride in the Xfinity Series because his daddy owns the most successful casino in Las Vegas. And when companies aren't willing to sponsor NASCAR and drivers are fucked because they can't get a company behind them, here comes Brandon Gaughan, and here comes Paul Menard, and here comes Brian Scott with their rich daddies, and all of a sudden they have a top ride in NASCAR. Like I said, if I had a rich daddy or if I hit the jackpot, I bet if I won the Powerball, I could miraculously, out of nowhere, be a NASCAR driver. And that's just the sad state of money in NASCAR right now. It's just sad. And talking about, I see in the chat some of you guys talking about Jeffrey Earnhardt. I'm a huge Jeffrey Earnhardt fan. For those of you who don't know, I met him this year. I met him back in January at a convention. Jeffrey Earnhardt, first and foremost, one of the most nice guys you will ever fucking meet, ever. Jeffrey Earnhardt is humble as fuck. He's classy as hell. I became a Jeffrey Earnhardt fan from that moment on. And Jeffrey Earnhardt finally has a sponsorship with Hulu. And it got me thinking. Jeffrey Earnhardt, with Hulu as his sponsor, I would love to see Jeffrey Earnhardt at his uncle's team, Junior Motorsports, with Hulu as his sponsor. You're going to tell me that Michael Annett is at Junior Motorsports solely because he has a sponsor and he's fucking garbage? Fuck him, can him, and let's get fucking Jeffrey Earnhardt at Junior Motorsports with Hulu as his sponsor. Hashtag Jeffrey at Junior. Hashtag Jeffrey at Junior. I want Jeffrey Earnhardt. I want Jeffrey Earnhardt at Junior Motorsports. If Hulu is willing, Hulu is a multi-million-dollar company. If Hulu is willing to stay with Jeffrey Earnhardt, why wouldn't Dale Earnhardt Jr. give him a ride? Jeffrey Earnhardt couldn't do worse than Michael Annett. And I'm not saying Michael Annett is the worst driver I've ever seen. But he's only at that He's only at that organization because he's got that sponsorship. What the fuck did Jeffrey Earnhardt, what the fuck did Michael Annett ever do to deserve that ride? See, Justin Allgaier had sponsorship. But if you guys remember, Justin Allgaier was driving his ass off for H. Scott Motorsports. Justin Allgaier was averaging better finishes at H. Scott Motorsports than Clint Bowyer was. No one ever questioned if Justin Allgaier deserved his spot at Junior Motorsports. But the question was, why the fuck is Michael Annett getting the ride? Because Michael Annett has never fucking done anything to deserve that ride at Junior Motorsports. He fucking sucks, and he has problems off the racetrack as well. If you guys remember a few years ago, Michael Annett was in jail for a DUI. How fucking embarrassing is that? NASCAR driver in jail for driving under the influence. Yet he still has a ride at Junior Motorsports. It blows my fucking mind that Jeffrey Earnhardt, Reed Sorensen, JJ Yaley, Bubba Wallace, they're sitting at home on Sunday eating chicken, watching the race. But you've got Michael Annett with a full-time ride at Junior Motorsports. You've got Michael. Just let that sink in. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a little bit. Let that sink in. You've got Bubba Wallace sitting at home eating chicken on Sundays, yet Ty Majeski has a ride with Roush Fenway Racing. I don't even think Bubba Wallace was considered for the 21. I don't even think Bubba Wallace was ever considered for that ride at Wood Brothers Racing. Paul Menard's family has been very good to the IndyCar side of Team Penske, if you didn't know. Paul Menard and Menards has sponsored Simon Pagenaud. They've sponsored Team Penske. So we're going to be nice to this guy because he has a rich daddy, and we're going to give him to our affiliate team at Wood Brothers Racing. And again, Bubba Wallace gets fucked. And again, Reed Sorensen gets fucked. And again, who gets fucked? Who gets fucked? Who gets fucked? Fuck. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it blows my mind. Shout out to my boy Brent Tannick. Check him out, Brent Tannick. He's a good buddy of mine. Check out the 3 Wide podcast he's got going on. Good buddy there. Conrad Fisher, yeah, I think it was 2011. Yep, if you guys don't remember, Michael Annett, I don't remember who he was driving for at the time. It wasn't H. Scott Motorsports. He was driving for somebody. He got arrested for a fucking DUI. And remember when Travis Kvapil was arrested? Travis Kvapil is a Truck Series champion. Remember when Travis Kvapil got arrested for quote unquote domestic violence that turned out to be false? Travis Kvapil has never resurrected his career. Yeah, he drives for the Truck Series sometimes. Travis Kvapil was falsely accused of domestic violence, and no one has ever picked him up since. So Michael Annett gets a DUI, which is actually a real thing, and he's driving for Junior Motorsports. Well, one lucky company, Pilot Flying J, which I like the Pilot Flying J company, but they have decided that for whatever the fuck the reason is, they're going to stick behind Michael Annett. They're going to sponsor Michael Annett, and therefore he has a ride. No matter how bad he does, and that's the thing. No matter how bad Paul Menard does for Richard Childress Racing, no matter how bad Brendan Gaughan does, no matter how bad Brian Scott was, Brian Scott, as horrible as he fucking was, as garbage, shit-face, dumpster, poopy face as Brian Scott was, the year before he got his ride at Richard Petty Motorsports might have been his worst year ever in NASCAR. Like, oh, okay, let me take the worst driver ever in the history of NASCAR and move him up to my Cup Series ride. Let me take the worst driver in the history of my sport and give him a starting position. It's like taking the worst quarterback in the history of football and replacing Tom Brady with the worst quarterback in the history of football. It blows my mind the shit that goes on because of sponsorship money. And I'm probably going to end this stream in about 10 minutes. Shout out to everyone tuned in right now. Fuck yeah, let's keep this going strong. I'm going to try and do this once or twice a week. My first time ever live streaming. Shout out to all the people in this chat right now. Y'all are fucking awesome. Okay, Redneck Gamers. By the way, Bobby Dale Earnhardt is making his Xfinity debut this weekend. Fuck yeah, let's go with that. And that's just the thing. So, any topics you guys want me to talk about in these last 10 minutes, let me know in the chat down below. We got 7 watching now. Shout out to all you fucking amazing people. By the way, yeah, Nicholas Steiner, I'm doing this every fucking week. Let's go. Let's keep this thing going strong. By the way, I'll be at Pocono this weekend. So anyone heading out there, I'll be at Pocono this weekend. Going to Pocono Sunday for the race. I want to see Ryan Blaney get the Pocono sweep. Let's see Ryan Blaney get the Pocono sweep. You know who I really do like, though? Ryan Preece. And I know he's driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. Ryan Preece is the perfect NASCAR story. Perfect NASCAR story, Ryan Preece. For those of you who don't know, he drove around, and I think he might have drove for Premium Motorsports for a little bit. Back when it was Phil Parsons Racing, he might have had a ride for Phil Parsons Racing for a little bit. Ryan Preece is the perfect story. Ryan Preece is the perfect fucking NASCAR story, and I don't care if he's driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. I will root my ass off for Ryan Preece. Preece is fucking awesome. We got Ditech Cup Series saying, Preece, baby. Fuck yeah. I don't care if he's driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. I don't care if he's driving in a Toyota. Ryan Preece is the perfect NASCAR story. He rounded up local sponsors, as many as he could, and he walked in the Joe Gibbs Racing shop and said, you know what, Joe Gibbs? You will not turn me down because I worked my ass off for all these local companies to sponsor me. And you know what? He drove his ass off when he was in that Xfinity race a couple weeks ago. I expect him to win at Iowa. I expect Ryan Preece to win. Ryan Preece is the perfect NASCAR story. If you like NASCAR, if you like good drivers that don't get good opportunities, finally breaking through and getting their opportunity, you will want Ryan Preece to win. We got a question here. What has this year's silly season been like compared to others, in your opinion? Well, I think this year's silly season, that's a question by Ditech Cup Series. I think this year's silly season has been very interesting. It's been very crazy due to the fact that we have never in NASCAR's history, never in NASCAR's history, seen so much young talent at one time. There is so much young talent that there are talented fucking drivers that are literally sitting at home on Sundays eating chicken and drinking Mountain Dew because they can't get a ride. A guy like Bubba Wallace, like I talked about before. So this silly season has been fucking ridiculous because, one, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is retiring. Dale Earnhardt Jr., though he never won a championship, though he never was half as good as his father, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the biggest face that NASCAR has ever seen. There will never be another driver that will have a bigger face or a bigger meaning to NASCAR than Dale Earnhardt Jr. And that's the whole thing. So when Dale Earnhardt Jr. announced his retirement, because there's so much good young talent, there were 30, 40, 50 names that were being thrown into the hat as who could drive that number 88. And obviously, my number one choice was Alex Bowman. Happy to see Alex Bowman get that win. And my thoughts real quick before I have to go here because I got work coming up. I got work and I got something else to do. But Conrad Fisher wants my opinion on Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman, if you ask me, Alex Bowman is one of my favorite drivers. And I don't care if he drives for Hendrick. I don't care if he's driving in the 88. I don't care if he's driving against my Penske boys. Alex Bowman is Alex Bowman did this old school, and you don't see this anymore. Back in the day, this was the case. But Alex Bowman has gotten into a top ride in NASCAR, doing it the old school way. He didn't come in with a name. His daddies weren't driving. His uncles weren't driving. He didn't come in with a big flashy name like Earnhardt or Elliott. He didn't come in with a big fancy sponsor. But he drove for BK Racing. And you look at the clowns that are driving for BK Racing right now. These assholes like Corey LaJoie and Greg Golden, all they do is wreck every fucking week. Did you watch that Brickyard 400 race? Did you watch it? Corey fucking LaJoie wrecked before the competition caution. How do you wreck before the competition caution? And not only did he wrecked by himself. I'm Corey LaJoie. I'm going to wreck going into turn 3, but there's not a single fucking car around me, and I'm wrecking for no reason. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? And then you have Alex Bowman, who a couple of years ago drove for BK Racing, and he drove that car well. He didn't win races. He didn't get top 10s. He didn't get top 15s. But he didn't crash that car. He took good care of that car, and he did what he had to do to win the race. He did what he had to do for momentum for his career. And no, he never won races, but guys like Rick Hendrick, guys like Dale Earnhardt Jr., guys like Jeff Gordon that have a lot of say in Hendrick Motorsports look back in that and they say, you know what? Alex Bowman drove for BK Racing. He didn't complain about his opportunities. He didn't complain about being an underfunded material. He didn't go out there and wreck people. And guys like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and guys like Jeff Gordon that were racing around Alex Bowman when he was at BK Racing are like, you know what? He's a damn good driver. He races clean. And I'd be happy for him to replace me. He made their name. He made his name through that. He drove for Tommy Baldwin. He drove for BK Racing. Alex Bowman deserves this opportunity. He did this old school. He didn't come in with millions of dollars. He didn't come in with a fancy name like Chase Elliott or Dale Earnhardt Jr. He didn't come in with a fancy, flashy name. He didn't come in with millions of dollars, but he put in his time. He could have drove for BK Racing this year. He could have drove for some shitty-ass team. He could have maybe gotten a ride with Front Row Motorsports or something like that, but he said, you know what? I'm going to show my loyalty to Hendrick Motorsports by not driving for Go Fast Racing. I'm going to show my loyalty to Hendrick Motorsports by not driving for BK Racing. And I'll be the simulation driver. Yeah, it's not a flashy job, but I'll do it. And Rick Hendrick sees that. And that's why Alex Bowman is easily one of my favorite drivers. And I wish him nothing but success because he's doing it the flashy way. He's not doing it the Grey Golding way. The way where, oh, well, my mommy's rich, so I'm going to get a ride. Alex Bowman is doing everything the way it was supposed to be. And that's why I'm rooting for Alex Bowman. Redneck Gamers, Corey LaJoie is getting better. Where is Corey LaJoie getting better? How the fuck is Corey LaJoie getting better? And I don't mean to have anger at you, Redneck Gamers, but how the fuck is Corey LaJoie getting better? He wrecked himself before the competition caution with no fucking drivers. He's dead last. There's not a single car anywhere near him. And he wrecks. How the fuck is Corey LaJoie getting better? Just put in the chat. How the fuck is Corey LaJoie getting better? He finished dead last because he wrecked himself with no one even around him. How the fuck is he getting better? I got 2 minutes. 2 minutes left in this broadcast before I got to go. Any last minute questions, let me know. I'll be back sometime next week. Any last minute questions, let me know. But you think Corey LaJoie is getting better? If you ask me, I think he's getting worse, if that's even fucking possible. I think Corey LaJoie is getting worse, if that's even possible. I think he's getting worse. Any last second questions before I head out? I'll be at Pocono on Sunday. If you want pictures, I'll probably post something on Twitter. Who do you think replaces Johnson when he retires? Well, that's one of the hardest questions I could probably answer. Um, Jimmy Johnson, of course, has 3 years. He signed a 3-year extension, so he'll be racing until 2020. And if you ask me, I don't really want to think about that too much because if you ask me, Jimmy Johnson is the greatest driver of all time. But again, you look at what Hendrick Motorsports is able to do. Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, William Byron. You're going to have a hell of a team, and I think that Hendrick Motorsports will continue to develop. And you know what? Who do I want to see replace Jimmy Johnson when he retires? And I'm making the bold call now. And in 3 years, when this all happens, Jeffrey fucking Earnhardt. Give Jeffrey Earnhardt the ride. Get Michael Annett the fuck out of there. Give Jeffrey Earnhardt the ride. Give Jeffrey Earnhardt the ride at Junior Motorsports. Develop him for 3 years. And put him in the 48 when it's all said and done. But in all honesty, I want the 48 retired. I know the number 3 car never got to be retired because Austin Dillon had to drive it when it was all said and done. But when it's all said and done, I know that Chase Elliott jumped right in the 24 for Jeff Gordon. I know Alex Bowman's jumping right in the 88 for Dale Jr. But when it's all said and done, the 48 number should be retired. And I don't care what anyone thinks. The 48 will go down, in my opinion, as the greatest driver in the history of NASCAR. No one will ever be able to repeat what Jimmy Johnson did, winning 5 championships in a row. NASCAR has continuously changed their system to fuck with Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson has come back every time and won a championship. When it's all said and done, I want that 48 car to be retired. I want the 48, the number, to be retired and never to be used again. If you bring Jeffrey Earnhardt up, if you bring anyone else up, resurrect the 9 car or resurrect the 25 car. Resurrect the 25 car. You're going to bring Jeffrey Earnhardt up, put him in the 25. I don't want and I didn't like Jeff Gordon at all. In fact, I hated Jeff Gordon. But I was not a fan of Chase Elliott jumping in the 24 because I said, and I quote myself when I said, Jeff Gordon did a lot for the sport of NASCAR. Having someone jump in the 24 right away was not a good idea, but 24 fans seem to be rooting for Chase Elliott, so it's all turning out to be well and good. But I am going to go now. Thank you guys for my first ever live stream broadcast. Shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Shout out to Nicholas Steiner, Redneck Gamers, Conrad Fisher. Who else is in here? Ditech Cup Series, my boy Brent Tannick. Shout out to all of you guys. And I'm going to keep the streams going. Appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate you guys liking the stream. This was kind of a spontaneous thing. So shout out to all you guys, man. I just want this to be kind of like a Q&A thing where I just jump online and you guys kind of just ask me random questions about what's going on in NASCAR. Quick thing, I'll be at Pocono on Sunday, and Ryan Blaney is my pick to win. Check out Redneck Gamers. Please check out my channel. I post all kinds of racing material. I'm already subscribed to you, but anyone else here, check out Redneck Gamers channel. Post in the chat right now who you think's going to win on Sunday, and I will see you guys in Victory Lane.